Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Prep Life Podcast. This is your founder and CEO of Glam Girl Bikini, Amy Enger. And today I'm joined by my fabulous co host, Leemarie Hassletter. Hey, Lee.
Hello. You have a different background today, Amy.
Yes, I didn't even realize there was a flower
Uh,
painting in this closet. I'm literally in a closet in Arizona,
so cute.
podcasting while my family's asleep here in Phoenix. So, but yeah, how was your Christmas?
Very good. Very relaxing. My whole family lives here, so just drive 10 minutes over to my parents' house and hang out with everyone and 10 minutes home.
Love it. Yeah,
Mm.
it's been nice. Kevin's parents came in for Christmas, and then my parents, I picked them up from the airport today, and then my sister and all my nieces and nephews are coming. So
Oh.
excited that I get to see everyone. But we have lots of things to review because I don't know, it seems like it's been longer than a year that we've been like co-hosting together where
It's
we've
been
been
about a
podcasting,
year.
but it's been exactly a year. So we're gonna kind of like recap our year together podcasting. And then I just wanted to say like to you that how grateful I am for you and as we close here in 2024. So we're starting a new year here in 2025 and things with the competition world have completely like pretty much the last show of the year was last weekend and things kind of slow down until the Arnold. So speaking of the Arnold, the list did come out and we're a little tardy on this, but we got into the fit model things. And so we kind of saved this for later, but this is something to look forward to. The Arnold Sports Festival kicks off the year and it's between February 27th and March 2nd. And it's the biggest fitness expo in the world. So not just bodybuilding, like every single unique sport.
Mhm.
So Arnold obviously kind of brought fame and like kind of eyes on the sport. And so he always hosts this and he keeps it very intimate, even more so than he has in years past. Like the last couple of years, I think ever since COVID, it's been dialed down to like a list of 10 people. That's it for bikini. So it is invite only. They have to apply. And I heard that the requirements for this 2025 Arnold were even more stringent because in the past they would allow you to just kind of put your resume together of like pro wins and things that you've accomplished. And I've heard that you have to either place like top five or top three within the last like calendar year. And I could be misquoting that, but I heard that from Phoebe Hagen, her podcast is amazing, but also her YouTube channel. She did kind of like a review over the list that came out, and that was something she mentioned. So I thought that was interesting. But of course, we have our Miss Bikini Olympia, Laura Lee Chapados, coming back to defend her title, and she will be defending, if she gets it, her fourth
Mhm.
Arnold title in a row. And I think that's the most consecutive wins. She had a three-peat last year. Some other names that are very high on the list that, for one thing, we didn't get to see Maureen Blanquisco at the Olympia because of her ankle injury. So I think she's really raring to go.
I'm
We
very
have
excited to
Jazzy.
see that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Mm.
we've got Jazzy Gonzalez, which she was third at the Olympia. We have Vanya Augusta. I think I'm saying that right. She was fourth at the Olympia. We have Angelica Teixeira. She herself is an international title. I think she has two Arnold
Mm.
international titles and she has two at least Miss Bikini Olympia titles. And then Tamika Carter, we of course have Amy Delgado, which she was like 1 point away from winning the Arnold last year. Her and Laura Lee were like neck and neck, so that'll be a good matchup. We've got Jordan Brannon, who's I think a new face to the Arnold. She was at the Olympia last year and I think the previous year. And then I'm not sure if this is Ashlyn Little's Arnold debut. I don't think it is. She's been an Olympian several times. She's always a force to be reckoned with if she's bringing her best. I believe she got her best placing at the Olympia this past year. And then Maria Acosta, she actually got first call outs at the Olympia. Surprisingly, she kind of like more people that were in the second call kind of got moved up. But at the Olympia, I mean, she she has like that perfectly balanced physique. And then of course we have Anastasia, who we had on the podcast right after
Mhm.
she got her pro card this year at
Mhm.
the Arnold Amateur. So they get an automatic invite. Whoever gets first as the overall winner of the Arnold Amateur, they get to go to the Arnold as a pro the next year. But I have to say that she's still like right when she did her pro debut, and she did a couple of pro shows right after the Arnold that spring. She got a top five in a couple of them. I can't remember what ones, but she's definitely she's one of those people that I feel like should have probably gone pro a long time ago. Like it was just like that the stars had to align for her at the Arnold,
Mhm.
because she definitely, winning top five right after getting your pro card is a pretty good sign that you're ready to go
Yeah.
in the pro league.
Yeah, it's
So
very
she'll still
cool
be
to do it
working.
at the Arnold though, because then you get that automatic invite that maybe you would never get otherwise.
Yeah, yeah, it's a very cool thing. And Arnold, he pays for their hotel, their flights, all of that stuff. So it's similar to the Olympia in that regard, where they pay for all of the ways for you to get there and to stay. And it's very prestigious, and it's more cash prize than most shows. It's not as much as the Olympia, but yeah. So I know we've got a whole year to review.
Yeah.
And did you want to start with anything like as in terms of how you want to kick this off?
So
Because you did such a
I
great
kind of
list.
broke it down with our episodes month by month and our interviews that we did and kind of the topics that we covered. So starting January, we covered a post-holiday, which is a good topic to cover always. And then since this is sort of the end of the competition season, I think it goes good with post-holiday and then into the improvement season as well. And I know our last episode, we talked about how to navigate improvement season and really make the most of it and New Year's challenges and the Glam Girl Challenge and all that. So I think it was just a good time to hit up the post holiday. And then also we interviewed Celeste Turk Rains, who is
Rainster. No,
what
it's not
is it?
Rainster. She just got married.
Stop.
Yeah, she just
I didn't know
eloped to
they
North
got
Carolina.
married.
Yeah,
Okay,
they
you
just
heard it
got
first.
her mom and her grandma had a December 18th wedding date. And
Mhm.
so he was just like, let's go to North Carolina.
I'm so
Um,
happy. I know she just
so
posted something with them
congratulations,
together, but I didn't
Celeste.
pick up that it was
Not
okay.
sure what the new last name is, but
That's
her maiden
amazing.
name was Rainsturk. Yes.
Okay, yes. And that was a great time to talk to her about, I mean, she just has a great platform with mental health and bikini competitors and body image and all that. And then that led into you and I both went to the NPC Women's Workshop and talked to a lot of people there. And so then we recapped that. Did you have thoughts on that or mem
Well, as we talk about January, it's
Mhm.
shameless plug that I do want to. We only have a couple of days left to sign up for the Glam and Grit Challenge. You have to sign up by December 31st. Today is the 27th. So if you are looking to do a very discounted rate to dip your toes in the Glam Girl experience for 12 weeks, there are cash prizes. Starts January 2nd, but you have to sign up by December 31st. So we'll go ahead and put that sign up link in the show notes. I want to make sure because
Yeah.
we're only on January and I know you have a short timeline. So but yeah, I think New Year's resolutions, all that stuff. That was probably one of my favorite highlights of January was going to the NPC Women's Workshop and just kind of learning about. I liked the judges breakout session, and I liked the breakout session with social media with
Mhm.
like Ashley Kay and Laura Lee Chapados. So
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so in February, now I know Sid, he is the owner of Beastified Gym, and we had kind of announced it in February. I can't believe how long it took him to occupy that building because I think about the year in review. I kind of was like going through my list, like personally, of just like my own months, and kind of doing an audit, which I encourage everybody to kind of do an audit of their year. And then that way you can kind of hone in on your next year's kind of like what goals you have for each month and kind of put your important calendar dates. But it's so funny. He just, he opened like right at the end of June. So the fact that we We did that episode in February. It was kind of
Yeah.
crazy. And I think just with the Masters, we interviewed a couple Masters athletes that month. I think it's pretty cool that, there's a Masters Olympia coming up again here in Japan. So this is the last August of 2025 is the last time period for those people to qualify. So pretty cool.
Very cool. So then in March and April, we did an Arnold recap, which we just talked about the Arnold coming up again. And then we also interviewed your client, Charla, who did she competed at the Arnold and you
She was
went.
the first ever Miss, like they basically had her with the champion King Kong Kelly. She was the first ever wheelchair women's bodybuilder
Yeah.
for females. It was their first year of doing it, and she won first. And so she got to get, she was basically Miss International wheelchair, which is cool. It was a really cool experience. I had like looked at our entire year of podcasting and literally her two interviews. I was kind of making a list of what my favorite was of the whole year. And I know we'll probably get to that at the end, but I just like while we're talking about it, her interviews were my absolute favorite. When she went pro at Wheelchair Nationals in June, it just every time I interviewed her, I got like teary eyed, and she's just such an
Dang.
inspiration. She's so motivational. She she was literally my favorite interviews of the year. And then it was fun too, like just at the Arnold, like meeting Arnold and like going to the fashion show, and meeting a bunch of people in the industry. So I think these kind of like activities are good to have in these off months, like the workshop in Orlando, Columbus with in February. I just think it's good to kind of like be around our people when shows aren't going on as much.
Yeah. Yeah, even also if you're not a coach, if you're just a competitor, or if you're in a place where they don't have a lot of shows around, like Kansas City, we're just starting to get more shows, but you can kind of go into a little bubble unless you're competing. And then when you're competing, you're so focused on your own prep that you don't really get to enjoy the whole experience of a show. So to go to an expo or to go to another show or even a workshop, super interesting and
Yeah.
fun in this
And
industry.
part of the expo, you get to watch bikini prejudging. All the finals you have to pay for, but it's all free at the expo. It was like literally my first show I ever watched.
That's awesome.
So, do you want to take the next part there then
So
for
yeah, so this is also in March, April. We interviewed Stassi, the IFBB Pro Stassi, and then Gina. I just liked the contrast of both of those. Like you talked about, how Stassi went pro and then immediately got top five and just like it just seemed to just stars align. And then Gina, I mean, I know that it wasn't just like boom, 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 like she started competing, went pro, everything. But then with Gina, she talked about taking 10 years to even get her pro card and having long like endurance and like lasting long in the sport and just learning to love the sport and enjoy being in it and not just always have that pressure to go pro, go pro, go pro. I just thought that was a really good contrast of hearing different people's experience in bodybuilding.
yeah, for sure. And then we had our first in May, we had our first team show,
Hmm.
and it was the first natural competition drug tested in NPC in Kansas City, I believe.
Hmm.
The Kansas City Natural. And so, a fun fact with that one that I just saw, because they just kind of redid their little graphic. NPC Midwest usually gets their schedule out like way in advance. So, I
Hmm.
had the old one, quote unquote, that they like put out in October, but I just got the updated one from Jack. And I specifically asked, this one is going to be a pro bikini and it's going to be an Olympia qualifier for drug tested.
Wow. Wait, the
So,
one in May?
hmm but you have to
Wow.
obviously have to be pro. It's
Yep.
only a regional show for
Yes.
amateurs,
Hmm.
so it's a pro qual or a national qualifier for amateurs.
Yeah.
But for it's they're gonna have a pro bikini there.
Nice.
Um, that's what I gathered from our like back and forth.
Mhm.
So I don't want to like put that out there. It's not publicized that it just says pro am right now, but
Mhm.
I specifically asked him if bikini was going to be there. So I think that that one will be a qualification for the Olympia for natural drug tested. But Don't
I
quote
am
me on
just
that.
holding
I
on
just
for
know that Pro
when we
Bikini is
get
coming
pro
to Kansas
cards.
City. Yeah, so at least Pro Bikini is coming again to
Yeah.
Kansas City because
Yeah.
they came for the first time in November, which we
Yep.
missed because we were in LA
Mhm. Yeah.
at
Yeah.
Masters USA. Okay, so June, what things stand out to you in June that were like for your personal experience or just what we podcasted about?
Well, I'm gonna actually throw it back to May because in May I got
Oh,
to
okay.
meet
Oh,
my
yeah.
first in-person physique or figure competitor at the KC Natural show in person. She had done a show with me in over like Zoom coaching in October, but she actually and you had clients in the show as well.
Yeah.
So my athlete got her national qualification and I was so excited about that. She took first in her class, and then she decided, which was much needed, and I totally supported her. She decided to just take a break, which she just really needed. She was moving and all these things. But then just a couple of months ago, we connected again, and she decided she wanted to compete nationally. So
Okay.
that was a very special experience for me to coach her to get her nationally qualified and then come full circle and be able to coach her through a prep for a national show, which will be my first competitor ever doing a national show. So that was really good. And I think in June, doing lots of Q&As and talking about our own personal experience, just like anecdotally and telling stories about coaching and competing and our own preps. Those are my favorite episodes to do. I think just because those are my favorite episodes to listen to. I love listening to various athletes and coaches just tell their own personal experiences because while I also love listening to research and listening to like the science-backed approaches, often it's so individualized in the sport that different coaching methods are just really interesting to me and also different prep methods. And sometimes people just break the rules. Like, obviously, you want to know the rules, you want to know research, you want to know the science, but sometimes it's just really interesting because there are some people that just break the rules and it works for them. And I find that really
Absolutely.
interesting. So I love doing Q&As. They're my favorite ones because I feel like we get to interact with you guys a little bit more, our listeners and really hear what you're interested in and your journeys and what you want to know about. So that was kind of June.
Which speaking of, please pop in the like comments on YouTube if you're watching, post some Q&A questions. We love going through a bunch of those. Sometimes there's just questions that can't have a whole episode dedicated to them. And so it's so fun to do those. And then if you're following us on Instagram at Prep Life Podcast or at Glam Girl Bikini, you can shoot us a DM with a question. A lot of our listeners did, and we take screenshots of those and use them on the episode. So thank you, listeners, for your support. And we want you to be able to listen to what you want to listen to. So you tell us what you want. And then in July, this was an exciting, it was a fun month for me. I got to go to Pittsburgh with my client Chinsey, who was my first ever 60 plus, taken to a national competition, getting top five, and then being part of her journey to going pro, like leading into her North Americans victory. I was just really, I feel blessed to like be part of these ladies' journeys, and they're just so amazing. We also announced our new posing coach, Marissa, and then we had on Holly Baxter to kind of give us the scoop on, her transitioning from the WBFF as a high level pro to basically like winning her pro card and doing a pro show the next day. It was really cool to talk to her, very much a fangirl of her, and just kind of the compare and contrast of the WBFF and the NBC. So that month was, I went to New York and with Savannah, and there was like a lot of travel during that month, I feel like.
I think the Holly Baxter episode is probably the one I've fangirled over the most. I have been a fan of
Yeah.
her since before, like back when I was powerlifting, because she was a powerlifter too. I've been a huge fan of her. And I love that, like her story of going to the WBFF, because she did compete in some other federations and she
Yeah. Natural. Yeah.
muscle to do bikini. went to WBFF and did that, and then came back to the NPC and then went pro. And I think it's just a really clear kind of timeline picture of how the NPC IFBB has it has progressed and changed. And it's really interesting now with this new division, how she was able to come back with this very, when she was told she was too muscular, came back and immediately went pro. It just shows how the division has changed and developed. And then they're bringing in this new division, which was probably more like when she first competed and she was told she was too
Mm-hmm.
big. So it's really interesting. I think
Yeah.
a lot of the focus is on people that are not big enough, but then it's like, well, then there's bikini for the people that are actually too muscular for this new division. And so it's just kind of like interesting to look back on that. And then now we have this new division.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know you have to go quickly. We've got August. I went to Phoenix. I competed in an NPC show, got qualified for my Caribbean Grand Prix. We talked a lot about just competing nationally and reverse diet. And so September, we kind of did a little bit of like just chatting with my coach and our Olympia predictions. October was our Olympia recap. Do you want to take November? I know I kind of like rushed through those last 3 months, but I felt
No,
like there was a
good.
lot going on in November.
November was a really
Busy.
interesting interview with Jason Theobald from Scooby Health, I think is
And I
his.
think he was actually in October,
Was
but
that
maybe it got
I might have
released
gotten it
in,
wrong.
yeah, it probably got
Okay.
released in
I
November.
love it.
Yeah.
And that was just really interesting, him working a lot with hormones, balancing hormones and cortisol. And I think just opening up the deep health aspect of prep and how I know you had talked about too with sleep and balancing your cortisol, how much easier your prep got after you took care of those little things like that were like inner health, hormone balancing, sleep, schedule, all those things. I think it's really important to talk about. And then leading into competing drug tested, the Ben Weider, we were both at, and I competed, and they did, for the first time, they did, what are they called? Lie detector tests? What do they call them?
Polygraph.
Yes, polygraph tests, which is really, really interesting and really cool. And it was fun to experience that and also talk to some of the organizers of that company that they brought in. And I rode the elevator down with one of the guys that was kind of organizing everything. And I asked him about like how accurate it is and if anyone had failed it and things like that. It was just really interesting. And I think we'll probably see more of that coming out. But then also we're going to start seeing more drug tested shows in the industry, which I'm really excited about, coaching and also competing naturally, which was really good. And then December.
Well, November, we don't want to skip over. I did my like Caribbean Grand Prix, and then you did the Masters USA's in Los
Yes.
Angeles and placed top four. That was in November. But yeah, I want to say like Jason was absolutely my favorite expert. I was fangirling because I've literally binge listened to every single one of his episodes from the Excellence Cartel and like the physique enhancement, or I forget what it's called, the one with John Gorman. Anyway, December, we kind of wrap things up for the season and we've just kind of had a hodgepodge of different things. Coaching women was one of, I think, a fun episode to do and just kind of talking about like what we specialize in at Glam Girl. So,
Yeah. And then, and speaking of that too, with coaching women, we do focus mostly on coaching women, but I know a lot of women have approached me or you or asked about kind of wanting to dip their toes into doing a prep, but not wanting to compete. So kind of bringing it full circle. I did post about this, I think yesterday too on our Instagram, which you should all follow us on Instagram at Glam Girl Bikini. But our challenge, our 90-day challenge that's starting January 2nd is actually a perfect opportunity to do like a prep practice, like try it out. If you don't feel like you're ready to do a show, but you want to try it out, you want to train like a bikini competitor, you want to practice, eating, counting your macros, learning about nutrition for fat loss and muscle gain to build a bikini physique without maybe necessarily stepping on stage, you might decide that, hey, I look fantastic. Maybe I will do a show. Or you might be like, wow, I look fantastic. This is great. I love training like this, but I never want to get on stage. Either way, this is a perfect time for you to try out coaching, like having a coach, training like a bikini competitor, eating, for athletic physique goals, and having support, accountability, all of those things, and maybe winning a prize. So just to bring it full circle, great opportunity. If you're listening, if you want to try it out, it's a really good deal.
Yeah. It's $700 for the 12 weeks, and that averages to be about like a little over 230 a month, which is phenomenal coaching rate. And you'll get all of the same amenities that all of our clients do, access to the portal, customize everything. I did have a question on Instagram about like, are the workouts customized? Is the nutrition? Absolutely. And it's tweaked every week based on your check-ins that you do in the portal, and we keep track of your data. And I think the number one thing that a lot of my like kind of in shape still like people that aren't just like going for a fat loss journey for this challenge, they were asking me, how's it judged? And a big portion of your points go from just the daily checkoff list and adhering. So you get a ton of points by mastering all of your 12 weeks. So if you do those checkpoints every day, you can't miss one, it adds up to your total score. So adherence is the biggest thing. And I think we all know that consistency over time is what really matters. So yes, pictures will be taken into a factor. Yes, we'll take like a little bit of a bio of like what you learned mentally in this journey too, because we do have nonfiction books as part of the challenge and reading those and things. So like mental and physical growth are going to be part of it. So don't think it's just a weight loss challenge. So, all right, with that, we will hop off. Thank you so much for listening, guys.